Okay, okay. So yeah, as I was saying, this is just a fresh installation here. It's not themed. So this would be what a regular end user sees, when they visit your support center and they're looking for help. They would visit a page very similar to this. And we have, a lot of the options you would expect to find. We have a search box at the very top, you can see here. So obviously if they knew the specific problem they were searching for, they could maybe pop in a few keywords there. And the way our search works as well is anywhere where the search appears, we have something that we call real-time search. So as you're typing keywords, we'll suggest results to you from the database. You don't have to sit there and wait for the search results page to come up. So if I type in, say, welcome, you can see that there's an article called Welcome to InstantKB. This here, and obviously I could click that to go straight to the article. If I was maybe having an issue with, say, group policy, I know there's a few articles in this demo site here that have the keywords group policy. So if I type in group, I should hopefully see a few suggestions there, and that just saves me the extra weight of having to go to the search page. Obviously, we only display so many results there, and if you hit enter, you can go to a more detailed search page, and then you can obviously add additional filters as well. You can filter by all the keywords, any of the keywords, and other various options. I can dig into that a little bit more if that's something you're interested in a second. But yeah, back to the home page. So that's basically the search box here. Obviously, we have the options in the very top right here. And if you're not logged into the knowledge base, that will display the login and register link. Again, those links can be hidden if you're maybe integrating this, or you just don't want users being able to log in. You maybe want to create the accounts manually through the admin control panel. Yeah, we have quite a flexible set of settings that you can enable and turn a lot of these features on and off. But when you are logged in, we display your username there in the top right, and also a little menu that lets you, jump to the different areas that are only available once you're logged in, that are relevant to your account. So, if you're an administrator, you'll see an admin control panel link there. If you're an agent, a support agent, someone who creates articles and responds to support tickets, you would see our agent CP link there as well. So that's just a quick way to get to some of the admin and staff areas once you're logged in. For end users, they can see any tickets they've submitted through the web interface or submitted even through email. If they create an account on your website and then send you an email separately, that will be linked to the account they have on the website. But I'll go into more into that in a second. So these tabs you see here running along the top, when you first install InstantKB, you'll see 4 different tabs. You'll see our knowledge base tab, troubleshooter tab, a downloads tab, and the submit ticket tab. Each of these tabs can be customized and turned on or off. You can even add your own tabs. So maybe you wanted this tab here to be your public-facing knowledge base. So I should explain what you find in each tab. So I've just clicked the knowledge base tab there, and you'll see when we're in the knowledge base tab, we have various categories here on the left. And because we're not in a particular category at the moment, we just show you, latest and popular articles at the root of the tab. But we can drill down, go into specific categories if we know what we're looking for. So maybe it relates to a certain product. We have a category for that product, and then we have maybe, installation, getting started, common problems. You can have different categories for that product, and then obviously you place articles into those categories. The categories are obviously just a way to help you organize those articles and help users, drill down to specific categories they're interested in. You can nest categories, as many levels as you want. All of these categories are loaded in through Ajax. So you can have a very large category structure, and it shouldn't have any impact on performance. We only load the top level categories when you first come to this page. But yeah, if we go into a specific...
Yeah, sorry, can I ask a question at that point, Ryan?
Yeah.
You've got some of the articles there showed new against them. It's like a new flag.
Yes.
Can you set timescales and parameters on that? So this is a new article for a given period of time.
Not at the moment, unfortunately. It will show that flag for 30 days after it's been created.
Oh, but it does it for 30 days, yeah. So, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, at the moment it's just a hard-coded time frame that. So they'll be green if they're new for 30 days, and if they've been updated within the last 30 days, it will show a little updated badge there. We call them badges, but they can be hidden as well. If you don't like these, again, our UI is very flexible. It can be customized.
No, I actually like them. I think they're really quite useful. I was just thinking about maintenance of the documents, and we've got to move them around every 30 days or something. But as long as the flag comes after 30 days, that's good.
Yeah, it does. You can see these other articles here. These don't have the flag. Obviously, these were created more than 30 days ago. So yes, the knowledge base tab, you can essentially have categories, and place articles into those categories. And there's a lot more to it in the back end to help you have things like workflows and being able to place articles into multiple categories, being able to control which categories are visible to certain member groups. We have full role-based security at 3 different levels in the software, so you can control the visibility of each of these tabs based on the rules users belong to. Based on the roles users belong to, or you can customize any of these categories based on the roles, and even individual articles based on the roles as well. But by default, if you're not worried about that, whenever you create content in the knowledge base, it's just automatically associated with all the roles that you have created, so everyone can see it by default. But you can choose, if you only want maybe support agents or people from your sales team to be able to access certain areas of the knowledge base, you can do that quite easily. So the troubleshooter tab, this is very similar to a knowledge base tab. So this can again have have categories, and then you can organize what we call guides rather than articles. We refer to these as guides. You can have multiple guides again within each category. The key difference between the troubleshooter guides and the knowledge base articles is with the troubleshooter guides, at the end of each article, if you think of them as articles, at the end of each article, hopefully this one demonstrates it. This is something someone else has created. Here we go. So you'll see, at the end of each article, you can present the user with a series of different questions or options, and then based on the option they select, you can take them again to another step in the troubleshooter guide. The idea here is obviously they'll work through a series of articles, maybe ticking various options along the way, and hopefully that will lead them to a resolution. If you maybe used say the help in Windows, you'll notice that's very troubleshooter orientated. You start off with a very high level problem. You ask the user a question, and then you eventually, through a series of those questions, hopefully you bring the user to a solution. Again, this is optional. You may not want to use the troubleshooter, so you can hide that completely. Both from end users and support agents. And again, so I'm just skipping over these quickly now. I'll obviously go into more detail if you want, but these are very similar, these tabs, which is why I'm skipping over these quite quickly.
No, that's fine.
The downloads is again essentially similar to the knowledge base tab, but you can upload an article with, an attachment with each article, and that attachment is featured more prominently in the article. We also provide you with a few additional options, like you can password protect the download. But again, you may not need that, because you can actually attach files to regular knowledge base articles, and you can attach, as many files as you need to a regular article. So yeah, that may not be necessary. The submit ticket tab, this is obviously our web-based way customers can submit support tickets. We have support for several different channels that customers can submit support tickets through. Obviously one of them is the web, so this is the interface that they would see. Because we're logged in, we don't need to ask for a name or an email address. We already have that from our account. You can again control this. You can make this visible to anonymous users. You can require users to have to log in before they can access this page. You can make this visible to users who have maybe only purchased support. There's a few different options again, but again, we use our real-time search here. So if I was to type in, maybe I was having an issue with group policy, so if I type in, say, problems with group policy, what you'll notice below is we have suggestions, from the knowledge base. Because they're part of the same product, we can obviously query the knowledge base as you open support tickets and suggest content from the knowledge base. So that would only be obviously public content, and you'll see we organize these by relevancy as well. So the relevancy is determined through a number of different factors. Obviously the number of times the keywords you've entered appear within the article. We also take into account the proximity of those keywords, and yeah, a few other metrics we use under the covers to determine that relevancy. I was explaining to Lorna last week that we don't try and reinvent the wheel with the search. We build the search on top of the database we use, which is Microsoft SQL Server, and we leverage the full text search within SQL Server to provide this relevancy ranking. And that's quite flexible as well. One of the issues I think Lorna was mentioning, is if people misspell words, it doesn't necessarily bring up results. I hate to demonstrate on the fly here, but let's try, say, getting rid of the U in group policy there. So you'll see our results haven't changed here. It may not be true for all of them. It will take into account spelling errors. It uses a thesaurus, and each word you pass into our search, it will find similar terms and also include those in the search as well. So one example I said to Lorna last week was, if you search for drove, it will return articles with the word driven, driving, driver, different variants of the term you search for. So it's a bit more of a natural language search. You can exclude search terms as well, but maybe that's a bit more advanced. We support the ability for you to define regular expressions to exclude certain patterns from searches. If you find you want to customize the search, that's a helpful way to do it. But yeah, it's quite a flexible system, the search, because we're built on top of the SQL Server search. That has a lot of features that can be customized. But yeah, I can go into the search in more detail. But you'll see here as well.
Ryan,
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I was going to say. So you were just about to scroll down. I think when you submit a ticket, presumably that sends an email, does it?
Not by default. You have to create rules within our system that will trigger those emails. So yeah, the rules are very flexible. You know, you can have an email sent to the customer to acknowledge receipt of their ticket. You can trigger an email to several different, you know, support agents. You can route that email based on certain values the user's selected here. So maybe they've chosen a certain department. You know, if they choose maybe sales, you can route that ticket to, you know, certain support agents within sales. Or within support, or within billing. So that's why we can leave it up to you really to create that through rules, because
okay, yeah, it doesn't do anything out of the box that you have to create anything specifically. You have to create rules to tell it what you want it to do.
Yes, I believe so. I'm just trying to recall if we send an email to the default admin account. I don't think we do. Yeah, you would need to create that through rules. I can show you how that's done. You know, the rules are very simple. They're similar
Okay.
to, you know, if you used Microsoft Outlook and created rules in there to help you organize your email.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
they're
familiar with that. Yeah.
very similar to that. So you can say, you know, if the department is HR, trigger an email to these email addresses with this particular message. So yeah, I will show you that in a
Okay.
second. Um, so I'll just give my screen a second to catch up because I've jumped around a bit there and I suspect it's probably still catching up. But what you should see, hopefully, is obviously we have our live results here because we searched for, you know, group policy. But you'll see a few extra fields here at the bottom. By default, we allow customers to upload 2 attachments to each ticket, so they can maybe submit, you know, a screenshot of an error they've run into, or a screenshot of an invoice. But you can customize the fields that are shown to users here as well. So you can see someone's added their own attachment field here. So this is a custom field that someone's added. Someone's added a field here and failed to rename it, unfortunately. But that's a, you know, a text area where you could ask for certain information. You can see we have a radio button list here. So you can create, you know, we support over 14 different custom field types at the moment. Things like drop-down lists, multiple select drop-down lists, checkbox lists, you know, input fields. And you can add any of those custom fields into a ticket and require that from the user. So one thing we use that for on our own website is when a customer submits a ticket to us, you know, we ask what product they own, what version of the product they're currently running, and then we can display that information as well, you know, within the ticket, within the agent control panel. So we, you know, we can see up front, you know, the customer's using maybe InstantKB 2012. You know, and we don't have to ask for that information. You know, hopefully we have everything needed straight away to start helping with the problem. But yeah, that's basically what a customer would see. If we just enter some, this is a, oops, sorry if I can type, let's click it. So you can see our results have updated here because I added test. We've got a few more results here now with the word test in as well. And you can also, you know, load in as many results as we find. We show you the top 5 by default, but you know, if the answer is not there in the top 5, you can click that big, you know, show more button, and it will show you as, you know, as many results as we find in the knowledge base. And we do a few things before we pass these search terms to our search engine. We do a few things like remove common terms. We dedupe the search as well, so we strip out, you know, duplicate search terms. We remove words shorter than a certain amount of characters. And the idea is, you know, to try and only pass the keywords really that are unique to the search, and also by deduping and removing short terms, we provide like a broad set of results. So we don't narrow the search down too much. We can at least show you hopefully something from somewhere in the knowledge base that will, you know, answer the question that you're opening the ticket for. So if we submit, oh, we can see this is a required field. Someone's added a text field here called favorite term. I'm not sure what that's for, but we'll call that computer for now, and submit. So you'll see our tickets, been added there. We've been assigned an ID of 17. And again, if we had rules configured now, that would trigger an email to the customer to say, thank you, we've received your email. You can expect a response within X number of hours. And that can be automated based on service level agreements. So you can assign service level agreements, again, based on rules to certain issues. And that will automatically set a due date for that issue. And we have then escalation rules as well, which are similar to rules, but they only run, and they run automatically when issues become overdue. So if an issue's not been resolved by the set due date of the SMA, escalation rules will run, and those rules again are similar to our regular rules. You can trigger further emails. So maybe you want to escalate the issue, and send an email up to someone higher in support. You could do that if a ticket became overdue through escalation rules. And yeah, users can obviously see their various open tickets. If we go into here, so because we are logged in at the moment, we have an area called My Tickets, which will obviously show any tickets we've submitted. It will show the replies from the support agents here. It will show all the attachments, all the metadata associated with the ticket, and again, all of this metadata can be customized. So you could choose to show, say, the status and the priority of a ticket to support agents, but not show that to customers. But we provide, we try and provide a good starting point without you having to configure anything. We try and make everything as flexible as possible as well, because we know, not all businesses work the same. So we try and make, anything we do, as flexible as it can be. So yeah, here you can see, obviously this is our ticket we opened a second ago. What maybe, I think we've gone over most of the front end. There's a few.
As I say, can we go back to knowledge base a minute, please? Sorry.
I'll just give that a second to catch up.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I thought I'd lost you for a minute.
Sorry, no. So yes, hopefully, has that caught up?
Oh, it was there a minute ago. It's gone again. Hold on, let's catch it up. When we get there, can we open one of the articles?
Of course.
Please.
Yeah.
Any article. Pick an article, any article.
I want to pick one. I'm tempted to pick one with some content. So here we go, creating. We'll use this one here because this will hopefully give you an idea of what a more well-formatted article can look like. So yes, hopefully that I'm updated. Sorry for the.
I'm still seeing the list. Yeah. That's all right. There we go. Okay, so that's what not. Presumably we can design the layout of the article is how we would want it to look. Yeah.
You can, yes. I'll show you that right now. So I'll scroll.
And from the article. So, if they search for an article, whether it's from the the home page or from the article page in the search boxes, and they can't find what they're looking for, is there an option at that point to raise a ticket?
There isn't, but we do display that submit ticket link, in the very top navigation at all times, so you'll still see that on the search page. So
right, so it wouldn't automatically then pick up the words that they'd already entered. They'd have to re-enter again from scratch.
they would. We do have some reporting that surfaces search terms users are searching for but are not returning many results or any results. We call that topic suggestions. I can show you that's within our knowledge base report. But yeah, you can see the top terms users are searching for, that are not actually returning many results. So hopefully that will give you an idea, where you can focus creating content, around to help customers who are searching for those.
I was thinking more along the lines of, they search for an article or they're asking a question, they don't find the answer, and what they've searched for is the basis of them just saying, well, in which case I'll email, I'll raise a ticket, but it uses the question that they've asked as the basis for the ticket.
That's a good suggestion. We don't have that at the moment, but we certainly wouldn't be opposed to adding something like that, because anything we can do to make an end user's life easier, I think is a good thing.
I think they're more likely to use something like that if they don't have to re-enter data.
Yeah, and we could at least maybe use the search as the subject for the ticket, and then they could flash out. We don't have that at the moment, but that wouldn't be terribly difficult to implement. Yeah, we could maybe look at that. But yes, if I show you, maybe let's search for, I'm trying to think of a word that, if we search for, say, monitor, not very imaginative there, but you can see here, we hopefully, once the screen catches up, that we didn't find any results for this particular search term. So you can see here it just says no results found. But you'll notice, we do still obviously have the submit ticket link at the very top there. But yeah, I agree completely. If here it would say, no results found, open a support ticket, and then again we pass those terms. I think that'd be quite nice. Unfortunately we don't have that at the moment, and whilst I could see us certainly adding that, I don't make any promises just in case.
No.
But that's only a very minor thing, and we could probably even add that as part of the skinning. We would just need to create a custom user control. That would actually be quite easy, and we could ask I'll need to look at that. I'll need to look if our submit ticket page accepts parameters we can pass into it to populate some of those fields.
Okay, going back to the knowledge base article then, when that opens up, we can't create a ticket from, sorry, let's go back, sorry, I'll start again. When you've got knowledge base article, so can they print that? Can they email it? Oh, print article, yes, I can see it on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Export it. They do have an option to print that or export it as PDF. Yeah, okay, no, that's fine.
They do, and if we choose that option, hopefully this will. My internet seems very slow today. I think it's the recording probably not helping.
I think it probably is, isn't it?
But what you can see is what we do here is, we try and apply a print-specific style sheet. So we remove some of the more fancier fonts that we present on the web, and we just try and make it a bit more printer-friendly. You can see, obviously, it preserves, all the images. It's monochrome here because my printer's a black and white laser printer. But yeah, if you had a color printer, this would be color. So yeah, we can close that again and go straight back to the article. You'll see within an article as well, we display again, various metadata that can be associated with an article. So, the author, when the article was created, maybe the category the article's in. Again, you can add custom fields 2 articles. So you could maybe add a specific product version number that this applies to, or a specific operating system that it applies to, and you could display that information in the top right there of the article. Again, all of those fields can be customized, and you can display custom fields there as well. This graphic you see here, this little round circle, that is actually your user photo. So whoever creates the article, they can add a little photo of themselves, and that will be displayed there. Again, if that's not something you like, that can be turned off quite easily. The contents of the article is everything you see really in this area here that I'm highlighting. I'll just give that a second to catch up. So obviously we have the article title, which is what you see at the very top in that larger font, and then we have the the created date, the author name, and the category. Again, that can be customized, but below that you'll see this is the the contents of the article. You can embed images into article. The articles are essentially just HTML, so anything you can do on a web page, you can do within an article. We do have some restrictions by default for security, so we do things like remove scripting. Obviously, only support agents can create articles, so we do allow you to allow scripting if maybe you want to embed, say, a Flash player in articles, or some JavaScript for some sort of dynamic widget within an article. You can do that, but by default, we don't allow that. But yeah, you'll see you can do everything else. You can bold text, you can include tables. You'll see here we have a table within the article, and the table has formatting. And the way we try and ensure consistency, obviously we want all your articles to have a consistent look and feel throughout the knowledge base. So at this point, well, before I dig into that, let's just carry on looking at the article. So at the very bottom of each article, you'll find a few different options. You'll find and also in this category list, which shows the 10 other articles from this same category, and they're ordered by the date they were last modified. You can also relate your own chosen set of articles from any category within the knowledge base or any tab within the knowledge base to this specific article, and you can also link external links as well. So maybe you want to reference a page on Wikipedia or a page on a third-party website. You can do that from an article. I know one of the concerns Lorna expressed last week was links becoming stale and broken over time. As long as you use our related links, that should never happen. Obviously, if you choose to, maybe you wanted to link a specific term within the article itself to another article, you would in that case have to create a hard-coded link between the two. But it won't break the link because we use an ID within all the links. So even if the title changes, we include the title in the URL for search engine reasons. Obviously the more, Google tends to treat web pages where the terms you're searching for, if they appear in the, the title, the body, and the actual web address, that they'll be ranked quite highly. Obviously, depending on page rank and inbound links, but because we include that title in the URL, obviously if that title changes in the future, we can't go through all your articles where you have linked to that article and change the title there, but we don't need to, because we we use the ID within the URL, so even if the title changes, the link will still work. And yeah, we have a few options to share this content on social media sites. You can bookmark this with various social bookmarking sites. This here, hopefully my screen is caught up. This is a way really for users to leave feedback on the article. They can choose, on a scale of 1 to 5, was this article helpful? You can you can customize this panel here. We provide 3 different ways for you to gather feedback from customers. You can have a a rating, a 1 to 5 scale. You can have what we call smiley faces, which is basically what we found, and YouTube had a similar problem with this, is users will typically rate something 1 or 5. They won't rate 2, 3, or 4. So to simplify things, we introduced this idea of you being able to change the way users rate content. So probably the best way to demonstrate is if I find another article. I think our welcome article is, I think this one uses the smiley faces. So you'll see as well, I searched there for the term welcome. I clicked the welcome article that appeared in the the real-time search suggestions. You can think of that similar to Google Suggest, except we show you articles from your knowledge base rather than suggesting search terms to search for. But you'll see, because we searched for welcome, it's highlighted within the article itself, so we can see what search terms we search for and where they appear within the article. So I'll scroll down. Hopefully the recording's keeping up. So you can see here, rather than a 5-star rating system or a 1 to 5 scale rating system, we just have 3 different smiley faces. This didn't help. It helped a little, or it resolved my problem. Again, this is still, this is a little bit of fun, but it's still quite. It's not difficult, but really what we suggest is you just want the users to thumb up or thumb down an article. Was it helpful? Yes, or it didn't help me solve this problem. So you can do that. If we jump into the agent control panel, so I've clicked on edit article here. So this is going to take us to the agent control panel, which is where your support agents would respond to support tickets. They would create articles within the knowledge base. It might just take a second. Oh no, I've not even clicked it. Sorry, let's actually click that. Here we go, sorry about that. So you'll see we're now editing this welcome article. So this should hopefully give you an idea of what it looks like to edit and create articles within the knowledge base. You'll see we have a very familiar what is referred to as a WYSIWYG editor, or what you see is what you get editor.
Yeah.
So it's very familiar to, say, Word. We've spent many years refining this to the point where we want to ensure the editor produces clean markup that's suitable for the web. If you've ever used a product like Word, you'll know, if you've saved it as, say, an RTF and then opened that up in Notepad and looked at the actual RTF code, it's an awful lot of code for just a Word document. And obviously, the idea of the web is we want to keep page load times down. We want to have nice, clean, semantic markup within your articles, and that helps with accessibility, search. So we've spent a lot of time trying to ensure the editor produces nice, clean, markup. It's not perfect. I don't think any editor will ever be perfect. You've probably used Word and ran into frustrations with Word where you're trying to align something and it won't quite do it, or but yeah, what we suggest with articles within the knowledge base is really just keep them simple. You know, that it's easier to maintain over time that way. You know, and it just ensures, you know, the article will appear. People are consuming, you know, content on all sorts of different devices nowadays as well. So, you know, one thing we've seen customers do, for example, is they'll include a table within an article, and that table will have maybe a fixed width of say 800 pixels. And then a customer will come to the site on a smartphone. You know, they'll maybe try and view that article, and they'll have to do a lot of horizontal panning or scrolling, you know, to see the article. So we would suggest, you know, if possible, try and avoid fixed widths. You know, always use fluid widths if you do need to include tables. Now, we don't expect you to know all this, so what we try and do is we provide a set of CSS classes out the box that you can use to create things like responsive images. So if you include an image within your article and you want to ensure that that image, you know, scales down correctly to smaller screen sizes, sorry, you can just wrap a specific CSS class around that. But I'll show you some of that now. Unless, you know, as I said earlier, if there's anything you want to dig into specific, I could talk for hours about our software, and I really do.
Oh, I'm fine so far. We're going down the right route, I think. Yeah, we'll speak up if there's something we want to see.
I'm trying to keep it fairly high level at the moment. I've not gone into any, you know, any of our more advanced features. All of this is pretty much what you would expect from most knowledge-based systems, but we do have, you know, quite a few advanced features that, you know, hopefully we get a chance to go into. But yeah, this is how you would, you know, obviously create your articles. You can keep articles private while you're working on them, so they wouldn't be visible to end users until they maybe get the final sign off or approval. And again, we have workflows built in to help you automate things like article approval and ticket, you know, ticket resolution. So you can define like a series of workflow steps that each article must go through before it's maybe published to the web. And at each of those steps, you can trigger notifications. You can perform what we call change actions against the article. So you can change certain fields associated with the article when it's placed into certain workflow steps. And similar for tickets. So maybe you had a workflow step that was, you know, first line support for tickets, and you had a few people in, you know, first line support. Whenever a ticket is placed into that workflow step, you could have an email triggered off to those individuals within first line support with a link to the ticket, you know, to say it's been placed into this workflow step. You can maybe set the status of the ticket through change actions as assigned. You could maybe set the priority to high. You know, you can change all of the fields that are associated with a ticket or article automatically at each workflow step. You can also customize or restrict who can edit content within specific workflow steps. So maybe once your content has been placed into the, you know, approved, ready for web workflow step, which is, you know, this article's gone through all the approval processes. It's had final sign off and it can go live on the web. What you can do at that point is basically only allow maybe, you know, one or two individuals to be able to edit that article and move it back into, say, you know, draft or back into you know, a stage where, you know, you're updating it. But yeah, maybe going a little bit advanced there. But when you're creating an article,
Get images.
sorry.
Sorry, right. That do we have to save? How do we put images in? Do we have to save them as JPEGs or something and then insert them?
No, well,
yeah. Currently, we have them Word documents.
yeah. if they're in Word
We
doc,
can't just paste them in.
we do support pasting images in, but they have to be from certain sources. Like if I take a screen grab of my screen here now, so I'll take a screen grab of, say, the InstantKB window there. I don't know if you can. I'm going to give it a second to catch up because I know it's awfully slow. So hopefully you can see there in a second. I'm using a piece of software here called Snagit to quickly grab my screen. I'm going to copy that screen grab into my clipboard. So I've just done a select all, a Control C once I've grabbed the screen grab. And you'll see if we jump back to our article in the editor here, I can paste that screen grab directly into the article. So I'll hit Control V. And you'll see the articles there now. We don't need to upload that to the web. What we do is we base 64 encode the article and include that string in the article HTML. And that avoids you having to, save the file locally, upload that to the web server, insert the image, into the editor. Again, that will only work from certain applications. Like I believe you can, like if we copy this image out, if I open up Word, so I'll just wait for Word to open. I'll paste that image. So I'll grab that image from our Snagit application again. I'll paste that directly into Word. I'm not sure if this is even keeping up, but
I can see Word.
okay. Yeah. So I've pasted the screen grab that I.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I pasted the screen grab. I'll see if we can paste it straight into the editor, and yeah, we can. So I mean, if we got rid of all of this content in the editor here, if we go back to our Word document, if we pop in, we have tried to make it, fairly easy to migrate content from Word. We're working on a feature at the moment that lets you point the KB towards a directory of Word and PDF documents, and it can parse those and create articles automatically. That's going to be a little way off, so I don't want to promise too much. But so I'm just adding text around this image really, just to see, if this was a regular Word document. We hit Control A, Control C to select all and copy it into our clipboard, and then we paste that into the editor. Yeah, I didn't think it worked. It does work, but what you have to do, unfortunately, is the way Word saves these images. What you would have to do is each image you would have to click individually within Word, Control C that image, and then paste that into the editor. Where you want that to appear. Unfortunately, if you select all and paste that in, I don't think it will copy the images in. It just copies in a white box. We'll certainly look at improving that for future versions.
That would work for us because the articles we've got at the moment are in Word documents, so
Yeah.
we could just copy and paste the text and then copy and paste the images.
You shouldn't need to right-click each image in Word, save to disk, and then upload that. That would be very time-consuming. Yeah, that shouldn't be necessary. You should just be able to do the copy and paste.
Okay.
So I'll refresh this article just so we've got some text back. Come on, internet. It's so slow today. This is not our software, rest assured. Our software is very quick. Wow.
In a minute, Ryan, can you talk to us about single sign-on?
Yes. we support a couple of
The
different...
way we want to use...
Yeah?
Sorry, carry on.
No, sorry. I mean, we support two options out the box, or two authentication mechanisms out the box. We support Forms authentication and Owen/ASP.NET Identity. And we also support Windows authentication through our Active Directory module. So if any of your sites uses any of those kind of authentication methods, really excluding Windows if you're going to be hosted with us, then single sign-on is fairly straightforward. We can do it a number of different ways. Essentially what we need to do is share some form of cookie. That's how we do our authentication, just through a client-side cookie in the browser. We need to issue that cookie on your site, or reuse the cookie you already create and share that with our site. And we also need to ensure that the information that's HMAC'd or stored in the cookie is consistent across the two databases. It's usually the user's email address that gets HMAC'd and added to the cookie. So I suspect you have a database with a set of users. Is it a custom database, or is it an application you're looking to integrate with, say Salesforce or?
No, it's not a CRM. It's a piece of property software. So we are.
So it's your own software.
Yeah, it's our own software.
Yeah.
For estate agents, it's fully managed. It's fully hosted. It's SaaS. They log on using, I think it's an email address, is it, Lorna, or certainly a login and password.
Yeah, their own username and password.
Yeah, a username and password, and we're looking to pass that through as a single sign-on. And on the home page for our product, there is a get help button, the usual sort of knowledge here, all that sort of thing. And as they click on that, it signs them on seamlessly to your knowledge base.
Yeah. Do you know what technology your property software uses for the authentication? Is it an authentication?
Well, we don't at the moment, because we don't have. Yeah, I mean there is something there at the moment, but I don't know. It's very old and antiquated, and I don't know what method we use. I suppose, Lorna, that's something we could find out, because that would be useful to know.
I know it's just a bit of code basically that takes them through, but then that knowledge base is a public knowledge base. It's not secured, and what we're looking for is that those users are identified by the credentials they originally log into the software on, and we're looking to secure it. So only people logged into our application can go to the help site.
Yeah.
We don't really want that to be open and public to anybody if they just copy and paste the URL.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. Well, that's not really too difficult. It's really just understanding how you currently do authentication. Once we understand that, we can really choose the best approach. If you're maybe using a bespoke or doing your own authentication, maybe you're storing the user's email address in a session variable.
Ryan, I don't think we do authenticate, because as Lorna said, you can just go to a URL. It's open source. So although there's a link to the knowledge base from the authentication.
So the user wouldn't first have to log into your property software before they could access the knowledge base?
No, because they can access it from anybody can access it. It's open source.
Okay.
Although we have a link to it from our application, you don't have to access it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. The bit of code that I'm familiar with takes them from the Dupix application to the knowledge base page. But if we were to send them a link to that just on email, they could just copy and paste it and go straight into it. So they wouldn't have to log in to the actual knowledge base.
Yeah, I see. So
we don't use any form of authentication at the moment.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, sorry, but we're talking about single sign-on, so I'm assuming you're looking, if the user's not logged in, if they're not logged into your property software, they can just get to the knowledge base and read the content you choose to make accessible to anonymous users who are not currently logged in. But maybe they come to the knowledge.
That is the
Yeah.
That is the case at the moment, but that's not the way we want it to work moving forward.
Okay. Okay.
When we launch a new knowledge base, it will only be accessible by customers who are logged into our application.
Yeah. We can do that. The way authentication is typically done nowadays in a web browser is through an authentication cookie. It used to be people would use session state, to persist authentication, but that's problematic. So a lot of developers nowadays, they stay away from session state and use client-side cookies. So I would guess that your property software, if you do have authentication where a user has to enter an email address or a username and a password, that would issue some sort of client-side cookie. Those cookies can be shared on any application on that domain. So, if the cookie was issued on propertysoftwaregroup.com, for example, we could read that cookie on, say, support.propertysoftwaregroup.com and use that cookie to persist the login between your software and our software. If we don't find that cookie, we can basically redirect the user to a specific URL of your choice. Maybe it's your login screen, because the KB now requires login. If they're not already authenticated through your software, they would be taken to your login screen. Yeah, we really need to learn exactly how authentication is or will be achieved. Is it cookie based? Do you use a technique provided by one of the frameworks like ASP.NET Forms authentication? I can put some of these questions to you in an email so you can maybe pass them along to the developer.
Yeah, that would be good. Then we can pass them on to our development team.
Yeah.
I guess we don't use anything at the moment, so it would be a case of which would they prefer to use.
Okay.
Yeah, and which one's easiest?
Yeah. Well, we use by default. Again, we never try and reinvent something if there's already something there in the frameworks we use. So we use ASP.NET Forms authentication, which is tried and tested. It's been around for 10 years now. I suspect if you're a .NET shop, if your software is going to be written in .NET, then your developers will be very familiar with, ASP.NET Forms authentication. If you're not a .NET shop, if you're maybe, you develop in PHP or Node, your web applications, and there are ways we provide what's called a RESTful API. You've probably heard of them. But you can basically make calls from your web application to our web application to issue things like the cookie that's needed to persist authentication within our software. So there's a number of different ways we can do it. And we would obviously work with you, to implement that. We would just need to understand what's, being issued on your side to persist authentication, and also, are there any areas in your software where maybe the user's username or email address, they could update that? Because we would need to keep that in sync with our database. So you would maybe need to add some code there that if a user changes their email address within your system, it changes the email address within our system as well. But yeah, we've worked with quite a few customers to help with single sign-on. It's a very common requirement, and we've tried to make it as flexible as possible in our software. We use something called a provider model that lets you extend our authentication methods, essentially. You can even extend our user store, so you don't actually have to use our core user tables to hold our user data. You could use maybe the ASP.NET database provided with the membership providers, but yeah, I'll send some questions along that will help us, figure out how we can best, most
Right, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, do the single sign-on. And again, it sounds technical, but we would, hopefully take care of much of that for you. So here we're editing an article at the moment, and obviously we can provide a title here for the article. We can select a specific workflow step for the article. So you'll see at the moment this article not within any workflow step, but you can you can make this completely optional, or you can force the user to have to choose a workflow step. And you can even specify the steps that will be available for them to select from based on the current workflow step the article's within. So, if an article's in maybe the final approval stages, you could maybe show, only two options there. You could show, publish to web and, needs further, work. Or however you choose to name these workflow steps. Again, we try and almost provide like a blank slate that you can create rules and workflows to suit exactly how your teams work. It does mean there's a little bit of configuration up front, which for some users, they maybe don't want to do that configuration. But it's literally 10 or 15 minutes of setting up a few different things, and then obviously you can go in over time and tweak how various areas work. Like maybe you wanted to customize the workflows, add a new step, or customize some of the rules. The more you get familiar with the admin control panel, the easier that will become. And we do have some guides and documentation as well that show how to create rules that will generate an autoresponder. So further down here, you'll notice we can place this article we're editing into one of the categories that we saw earlier within the knowledge base tab on the left. We see a similar structure here, so you can see it's indented and shows you the category structure. You can place this into a particular category, and that just helps you organize the article. You can also place it into multiple secondary categories as well. So maybe you wanted this article to appear, obviously in several different categories. You can do that by just selecting, different secondary categories here. And here is our user groups. This lets you control who can view this particular article. So you'll see at the moment all of our member groups. You'll see we have anonymous visitors, registered visitors, registered members, awaiting activation. These are our built-in member groups. These represent the different, groups of users that will typically be using the knowledge base. You can add and customize that list. So the anonymous...
Ryan, sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Is that where we would put, like, say, Dupix users or Alto users, we'd put our 4 categories in there, as well as sort of staff groups?
Yes, it is, yeah. So you would have maybe a different member group for each of your products or services, and then you can associate, users with that product or member group, and then only categories or tabs that are also associated with that member group would be visible to that user. So yeah, it's just a way for you to control, what the user can see based on the roles they're associated with. You don't have to use roles though to organize customers. If you maybe, if you don't want to control what content is visible to the user, but you still want to maybe segment them by the products they own, we also have this idea of lists, user lists. That's really more for our ticketing side of things. I'll go into that a little bit more, but it works separately from groups. The lists don't control what the user can see, but you can place them into certain lists and then run rules. Say you receive an email from your primary support list, you can maybe assign that a higher priority SLA. You can trigger different, rule conditions, or sorry, rule actions based on, if the customer belongs to a certain user list, so maybe what product they own. We use that here. We have customers who purchase support from us, but we don't have a special area in our knowledge base. We've only premium support content. Our content is visible to all of our customers, but we still want to provide, priority support to those customers who have purchased support from us. So we use the user lists feature. It's similar to groups. Again, you can place a single user into multiple lists, but the lists are really only used to help you trigger rules. So you can say, if we receive a ticket from any customer in this list, trigger these actions, send this email, move the ticket to this category, assign it to this individual. There's all sorts of conditions you can check for and actions you can do within a rule. And one of the conditions is the list the user belongs to. It's helpful if you have like a premium support group, or you just want to segment. We've seen even customers using the KB for like a basic CRM. So because our ticketing can pull in your emails as well, you can actually set it up to monitor, say sales@youremail.com, and then every email that's pulled in, we create a contact within our system automatically for that email, and then you can place that contact into a certain list, and then again trigger emails, based off that list. So if a user belongs to, say, your, hot leads or hot opportunities list, you can have that, an email triggered maybe to your head sales, folks, and that they can obviously, help. But yeah, a lot of these fields you see here when we're editing an article, they may not be applicable to you, so you can hide a lot of these fields as well. If you just want to capture the title, the text, and maybe the category, you can hide every other field and just have 3 fields when you're creating an article. But these are the fields you see by default. You'll see here you can specify who an article, or if you're creating maybe an article to address an issue, you can select reported by, you can select who the article's assigned to, who it was suggested by. This is what I wanted to go over, the review date and the expires date.
Like the 30 days?
No, sorry. These are used to help prevent content becoming stale in your knowledge base. So you can create, review dates and expiry dates for content, and we have views that show you content that's should really be reviewed, content that's expired. We can even automatically hide your content when it hits that expiry date. So.
And how does that show, Ryan? So did you say like in a view, or would it be a report?
It would be in the Manage Articles page. Sorry, so if we go to Manage Articles here.
So just as an administrator, I just log in and see what's expired today, and then I know to either reset the date or rewrite it, and then just process it back into the knowledge base.
Yes. So you can see here, I've gone to the Manage Articles page. So this shows you.
I see. Yeah.
And you can see here we have a little filter that lets you show different views. So you can see expired articles, articles that are due for review, as comments, due for review, private articles. We also have a summary link here that show. Sorry, not that one. This one. This shows you various other statistics from all of your different tabs as well. So you can see here we have, free pending comments. Those are comments that users can add to articles that are not yet public on your website. We have the ability for you to review comments before they're made live on the website, or you can just completely disable commenting if you don't want that functionality. That can be turned off completely. You'll see we have 7. This is all within our knowledge base tab. This is just like a summary of what's going on in this tab. You can see we have 7 public articles, 1 article that's been assigned to me. We have 1 public comment. We have 0 articles due for review, and we have 0 expired articles. So those are really the 2 ways you would see expired and due for review articles. If we click expired, obviously we won't see any results here because we don't have any expired articles. Yeah.
And sorry, drop down. Is that where I see that little filter button you just clicked on? Is that where I see either negative comments or unhelpful articles, so I could attack them straight away?
No, those would be in the report. You can get to the report from this cog here. So again, we're in the Manage Articles page. We don't see any results at the moment because we filtered, by expired articles, and obviously we don't have any. But if we click this little cog, you'll see we have a View Report button. So this will show us just a summary of activity within only this knowledge base tab for a specific date range, and you can customize the date range. We store all this data indefinitely, so you could go back 2 years, 3 years. You could have a look at what activity was like in quarter 1 2015 compared to quarter 1 2016. See if activities grew, see if you're still running into as many. So there's our top categories. Unfortunately, this is still okay. We don't have any user engagement, so no one has rated or left comments for articles within this specific date range that we've selected. But we can see.
So what makes a top article then? If the articles haven't been rated, what makes a top article?
This is really just based on the number of views in that particular time frame.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, there's nothing too fancy there. We did used to take into account the rating. I think there is still a way to show. Well, that would be from the regular search. You can order by views, order by any of the different columns. But what I wanted to show, or what I'll quickly explain. So obviously this panel here is just a linear chart showing the views of particular articles. So you can see, because we've been looking at this today, we've had a few views. There were some views over the weekend. Obviously, this is not real data. This just shows the activity by source, so whether the user was logged in, whether they were anonymous, whether it was a search engine. We try and filter out search engines so they don't get mixed in with your real results. But we don't see much here because this tab doesn't really have too much data, but we would see a few more panels here if we had the data to present. So top articles is just based on views. Top categories is based on the aggregate number of views for all the articles in that category. So this Welcome to InstantKB, combined all the articles in that category have had more views than any of the other articles. This is more for these reports I'm clicking on now are more for admins and staff members, but we can see a breakdown of articles by status. So if you're using workflows and change actions, this can be helpful to see, you know, is there a bottleneck in the approval process? Are all articles stuck in second review? And you can, you know, you can filter by particular workflows as well, because you can have multiple workflows. You know, maybe you want a separate workflow for different product teams. You know, because there's different team members involved, and you can do that. And yeah, these are really just a basic pie chart, a breakdown based on workflows. If I go back here, sorry, let's just try and see if we can select more results so we can see a fuller. Not much.
No, that's fine. That sort of gives us an indication of what the reports are in there.
Well,
I did have one question. Sorry, just going back to the articles, if I may. We can upload videos, either YouTube videos or ones that we use in-house, we make in-house. I believe our training team are looking to put some training videos together. I'm not quite sure what program they're using to do that.
Yep.
But are they quite easily just to embed into the articles?
They are. If you're using a service like YouTube or Vimeo or Wistia, is it? Then yes, you can do that quite easily. Yeah, as an article is just HTML. The way a lot of these sites work, YouTube basically just uses Flash, so it uses an object tag, so you can just embed that straight into our HTML. Other sites may use an iframe, and I know Vimeo uses an iframe. Wistia, which is like a paid video hosting service, that seems to be the one a lot of people go with, because it provides all sorts of analytics behind the scenes. You can see where users left your videos, you can see how long users watched videos for, your most popular videos. Right. And they also provide...
And what was that called, sorry? Was that Wistia?
Wistia, yeah. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Wistia, let me get the spelling. So the exact spelling is Wistia.
Yeah. PIA or X?
Oh, sorry, T for Thomas.
TIA.
Yeah, T for Thomas, I for India, and A for Alpha. Yeah.
Sorry, Wistia. Right, got you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You'll see their tagline is video hosting for business. As well as the analytics, they provide a nice, content delivery network as well. So it distributes the videos around the globe at various different edges, and people can get to those hopefully a little bit quicker than hosting them in one location. Obviously, they do charge, for their service. But if video is important, and having analytics with the videos, you may find it helpful. And again, because they're just Flash, they use they provide a couple of different options, and we support them all. Again, because our articles are just HTML, you can embed a standard HTML5 video tag and just use the native browser player, so you don't have a dependency on Flash. Maybe Flash is blocked for security reasons, or you can just opt to use Flash if that's what everyone uses. Yeah. I would personally...
Do videos have to be embedded in articles or goals?
Yes, really, I would say so, yes. I wouldn't suggest...
Which one? Do they have to be embedded in articles or just uploaded?
Well, you would first need to upload them to Wistia or your chosen video hosting provider.
Yeah, but to InstantKB, do they have to be embedded in an article?
Really?
As a link, do you mean, or...
No, you would need to embed them within an article, really. So you would create an article maybe titled the same as the video, and then just embed the video directly into the article. The reason being is obviously, we can display that article then within our category, within our, our homepage. It is possible, if you wanted a video up front maybe a certain video in a particular category, you could do that through our category descriptions. We have certain fields where you can include HTML, but really, yeah, it would be an article. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You could.
Okay.
I mean, you could. If you didn't want to embed the article within the video within the article, you could link to the video. But really, that's a poorer user experience than just showing it them, within the article itself. Maybe you do want to provide a link to alternatives though, so they can download it, for offline viewing. But I was explaining to Lorna last week, we really don't want to host video because of its size, really. Our main cost with hosting customers is bandwidth. So we do monitor our bandwidth, and obviously, if it's exceeded, we would have to try and recover our costs. So yeah, ideally, you would use a dedicated video hosting provider to host the videos, because they're in the business of sourcing cheap bandwidth. We're in the business really of providing a reliable service. And
one more question for me, Ryan. You are a cloud solution.
We offer both on-premise and cloud. All our cloud installations are hosted on Windows Azure. It's all fully redundant. We have daily database backups. We have a sister data center in the Netherlands where data is replicated in real time.
You've got that form set out. Would we be able to have that email form that goes to our support inbox, or would it just be replaced with an email? I don't know what it is.
I asked that question earlier.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. What Ryan said is it's in the configuration, and we need to configure what we want to happen behind that submit button.
I see. Right. Sorry.
That's all right.
If I jump into the admin control panel here, I'll quickly show you the rules.
Rules.
Let's go to the agent control panel, because you can do all this from the agent control panel. If we go into our tickets tab, manage tickets. So this is where, as a support agent, you would see all the tickets that customers have submitted through that front-end web interface we were just looking at. You would also see tickets. If you monitored Twitter and Facebook and email, they would be pulled in here as well. But again, you already used, Salesforce, so that's probably not necessary. But in here, you would click the little cog here, and you'll see we have a manage rules link. If we click that, so you'll see we don't have any rules at the moment in this tab, but we can add a rule, and we can obviously provide a name for the rule. We can exclude certain these are just the conditions that the rule should execute under. So we can say we only want this rule to be triggered whenever clients open a new support ticket. So what we would do is we would exclude agent tickets, client replies, and agent replies. So this rule would only execute when a client opens a new support ticket, and that can be through the web interface. So let's just call this new rule. And you'll see here we can filter, this is what I was referring to earlier, where you can filter by a particular list. So you can say if a client opens a ticket and they belong to any of these lists that we've associated with them, then we want to run this rule. For now, we'll leave that blank. So we just run this rule for everyone. You'll see we can say from channel as well. So did this rule come in, did the issue come in from email, web, Facebook, Twitter, live chat, phone? and you can have that rule trigger only if the issue coming through one of them channels. So you can say here, you can even search for, if the email contains, a specific term like, paidsupportcustomer.com, you can have this rule triggered. So these are all really just the conditions that the ticket must meet for the rule to execute. If you leave all of these blank, it will just do a catch-all. So because we've excluded all agent tickets and all client replies, and we've not specified anything to further restrict the ticket, then this rule will execute whenever a new ticket is sent into the system.
I see.
So what you can do is these are the actions you can perform. If the ticket meets all them conditions, you can assign it a certain icon. That's just to help you visually identify it in the list. You can assign it to a particular staff member. You can move it to a specific service level agreement. So again, maybe it's a customer who belongs to your premium support user list. You can say any tickets that arrive from users within the premium support user list, assign it, maybe a 12-hour SLA or a 6-hour SLA. Or you can move it to a particular workflow step automatically. You can move it into a particular category, assign it to a particular department, and change ticket status and change the priority. What we're interested in, though, is the email. So whenever a new ticket
wouldn't most of those actions would only apply surely if we were using your ticketing system?
So we would just click trigger email. You see there's a checkbox here called trigger email. So we can just click on trigger email. We can provide any email address we want, and you can separate multiple email addresses with a semicolon. You can even use what we call quick tags here. So maybe you wanted this to be an autoresponder when the client submits a new ticket. If you hover over this little icon here, you'll see the various list of tags you can use. So maybe we wanted to send this email back to the customer to say, thank you, we received your email. You could pop into the to field there. You could pop in, angle bracket, author, email, end angle bracket, and that will be replaced with the user's email who opened this ticket. Or you could just type in, Bob at mycompany.com, semicolon Jane at mycompany.com, and just send an email to several different individuals whenever a new client ticket arrives.
Sorry, Ryan. So if this was just an email coming into our support at Dupix, sorry, what I was asking, I'm not quite sure if I'm understanding correctly. So you can set up a workflow in here. So if somebody clicked on the submit a ticket, we can, the rule behind it that whatever their query is goes to support at Dupix inbox, and then any autoresponders go
to Just to confirm, Ryan, all we want it to do is send an email.
Yeah. So we would do something along. We don't even need that actually. That is basically what your rule would look like. You can see what I've done.
Yeah, so that would just come straight into our generic inbox, and then we'd manage it from there on our ticket system.
Exactly, yes. You could even, if you didn't want to worry about this, you could even, again, as I say, you could remove our submit ticket tab and just replace it with a tab that links straight to your current contact form. So users wouldn't even. But then you lose, that searching of our knowledge base. So it may be nice. Yeah,
that's why I was trying to keep it sort of linked, but not overly complicated, which I failed miserably at doing that, didn't I?
No. So yeah, we just create one rule that sends the entire ticket message to your desk.com email address, and that would just be pulled into desk.com. It would have the full message. The sender would be the client that sent the email, so it would come from their email address. Well, let me just think.
And that sounds like it would work, and then we wouldn't see any build-up of tickets within here because the ticket tab wouldn't be there, and we wouldn't have two lots of ticket IDs and two lists to work through, so we'd just work through Salesforce. It's just really channeling that form through an email just to hit our inbox.
Yeah, yeah.
From this portal, from this sort of, from this channel. Okay, thank you.
And yeah, one thing I didn't cover that you may find helpful is we have a glossary as well. So you can define, if we go here, manage glossary, we probably don't have any terms in this demo one. But if your software uses a lot of complicated terms or abbreviations, you can include those within like a glossary and provide a description of each of those. Any terms that are defined in your glossary, if we find those terms within an article that you publish, we'll automatically link that term, and when you hover over that term, it'll display the full description from your glossary. It's just a helpful way to provide further information, especially if you use a lot of abbreviations or terms users might not be familiar with.
Yeah, that sounds quite handy, because a lot of people either refer to a deposit or a bond, but they don't mean holding deposit, so that I can see where that could be beneficial.
Yeah, and then anytime we find that word bond or deposit, if you've defined a glossary term called deposit, we would, when you hover over that, you would get a nice little pop-up with the description. And again, all of that is asynchronous. It shouldn't affect performance. You can have as many glossary terms as you need.
Okay.
So if you're not going to be using the ticketing too much, I probably shouldn't spend too much time on the ticketing. I don't think you're going to be using the phone support.
No, it's just really the knowledge base for our customers. Excuse me.
Okay, so one thing I will quickly show you is, sorry, we go back to our agent control panel. Obviously, I've shown you how you can create articles. We provide that title. You can use our rich text editor. We have a number of extra fields that you can complete, like expires, review. You can hide those fields if you don't want them. You can keep articles private while you're working on them. That's done through the access type drop-down list. Providing that's set to private, only visible within staff CP. Regardless of the member groups or roles that are associated with the article, it would only ever be visible to staff members. And one thing I did want to show you is categories as well, because obviously that's how you organize your articles, and you may end up with a fairly large, category structure. So again, we're in the agent control panel. It's probably worth mentioning as well, within the agent control panel here, the options on the left here represent each of the tabs that you see on the front end.
Okay.
So you'll see here we have knowledge base, troubleshooter, downloads, tickets, and then we have a few extra options here which are custom tabs that other users have created. So these tabs won't be there when you install our software. You'll only see 4 tabs. But if you create your own, maybe knowledge base, or maybe you want to capture, bug reports through our software, because you can customize the ticket form. You could have like a form that captures, bug reports and asks the user to upload a screen grab, and then you could use, the agent control panel and our workflows to manage those reports. It's probably not, if you've got a dedicated, some sort of dedicated issue tracker, then it may not be something you want to.
We already have systems in place for those sort of things. So
yeah. Here.
What about knowledge bases or products? So we intend to roll this out to one product initially, but we have several products within our business. So if we wanted to eventually roll it out to different products and keep those products separate, would we need different knowledge bases, or can we just categorize by product? How would you see that working?
Yeah, you could categorize by product. In terms
and customers would only see articles that they have that are relative to.
Yes, providing they're logged in and they're associated with, you could use roles again to create a role for each product and then associate that role with each user. So you can say, this user owns product X, Y, and Z, and then they would only see categories that, you've also linked to product X, Y, and Z member groups. Whereas another user coming in, they may be linked to product A, B, and C member groups, so they would only see, categories that have been linked also to A, B, and C.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can have a completely unique view based on the roles a user belongs to, and you can do that at multiple different levels as well. So if you only have maybe one or two different products, it may make sense to use tabs, so to create a different knowledge base for each product. If you have lots of different products, it may make more sense just to have one single knowledge base tab, and then maybe 20 or 30 different top level categories for each product, and that way you can you can have one knowledge base tab that every user goes to, but maybe Joe, who owns product X, Y, and Z, when he goes to the knowledge base tab, he would only see those X, Y, and Z categories, and maybe other customers, they would only see the ABC categories. So if we go into the admin control panel, I'll quickly show you how you would do that. So here's where you manage your tabs. So again, the tabs are what you saw on the front end, the knowledge base, troubleshoot, download, submit ticket. They're what appear on the left in the agent control panel. So if we if we create a new tab and maybe call this product A, and we just make this a knowledge base tab, and then you'll see here we can choose which member groups can access this tab, and we can also choose where this tab appears within the user interface. So does this tab appear in the tab strip you saw along the top of the screen on the front page, or does it appear in what we call the resources panel that runs vertically on the right of the screen? The reason we provide the two options is you could have lots of different tabs, and there's only so much horizontal space on any monitor. You really want to feature your key tabs along the top, and any secondary tabs, things that are maybe not too important along the side. So for now we'll just create this. We'll just leave it associated with all the member groups we have. So if we go back to the front end now, we'll see we've got a new product A tab. Oh, did I call it project? Oh no, product A, sorry. So if we click on our new product A tab, obviously we've not created any categories. So at this point we would maybe want to create categories for product A. Because we're logged in as a staff member, we can just right click here. And so I've right clicked on category, I can just add category. I can start building up my new category structure here for product A. And then again, I could add another tab called product B, build a completely different category for that.
Yeah.
It gets quite complicated, that, in terms of management. So it may make more sense just in the regular knowledge base tab, just to add a category called product A. So if I do that, so product A, and then if we add another category called product B.
Ryan, can I ask a question while you're doing that, please? So if our customers are using this through a single sign-on, how would it know which product they had, and how would it only show that product?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's work we can do during the single sign-on. If you have roles in your system, or some way users are associated with certain products, maybe they have an order history, and we can query or obtain that information. We can do some sort of mapping that will say, add them to these current.
Yeah, but don't forget, this is not a CRM. This is a product. This is an application.
Yes, but
you're not querying like Salesforce CRM to see what product they've got. This is just purely a link from an application.
Will it be from the code in the application? So if it was our Jupyter, that would be a different authentication code than if people logged into Alto.
Yeah, well done, Lorna. So would we have to pass something in that authentication that says I'm Jupyter or I'm Alto or I'm CFP or?
Yes. Yeah.
I think would the cookies be different from the Alto product app than they would from the Jupyter app? I think.
No, all we would need to do is any user that's already logged into your software, when they click that link from your software and come to our software, we would need to make sure obviously an account has been created for them in our software. We can add them automatically to certain roles based on any roles that they exist with in your system already. If they don't exist with any roles, you as an administrator within our software, you could come into the admin control panel. You could go to manage users. Obviously, we really don't want to do this ideally. We want to come up with a programmatic way to assign them to the correct roles. Sorry, it's not users, it's agents. And we don't have any users because they're the people who open tickets, etc. So if we come into our administrator account here, you'll see we can link our, a single user account with multiple different member groups. So here you would just link, say this was a user who purchased product A, you would just select product A if we'd created a member group for that, which we've not at the moment. You would just select, product A from that list, and then they would suddenly see all content that has been associated with product A. That's the manual way to do it. But ideally, what we would need to do is, as you say, when they come to our site, you would either need to pass something from your application that says, this user belongs to these roles or owns these certain products.
Yeah, okay. We need to have a think about that because we do have some customers that have Jupyter for sales and CFP for lettings. So, okay. We need to have a think about that, I think.
That's no problem. If you had some sort of service that you could call, we could also add some logic into our code that says, at the time we're creating the user within our software, make a call to your service, look up the user's email address, if they own these two products, link them to these two member groups if they only own one product. We did something similar for Verizon Wireless. They were using they still do use our software internally for their IT help desk. And they have something that they call the V-tree hierarchy. It's just like a big, long, unique GUID that identifies users. And we had to use that, to add users to certain roles in our system automatically. So it's possible. It's really just figuring out the best way and what information we can use to add them to the correct roles within our software. You would need to create those roles ahead of time. Do you have any idea of how many different roles you would need? Would it be a couple of product lines or?
Probably at least 4, I would have thought.
Yeah.
At least. Maybe more.
2 to start with, without definitely, three, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, when the customers, I think I need to think about that because a customer will just come in with a username and password. So if they're logged into, say, Jupyter, then we need some authentication that they only see the Jupyter articles. If they still have 2 products but then logged into Alto, then we'll have some authentication that they're coming through the Alto application.
Yeah.
That may make that a little less complicated.
Yeah.
But then obviously I don't know. That's the only way we could do it, isn't it? Rather than actually go through and list all of our customers and know who they are. it would just be those two authentication codes as to which URL they're coming from or which application they're coming from, I guess.
Okay, and we could even maybe check that in just the referrer. You know, if they come from X URL, add them to this group. If they come from this URL, add them to this group.
Yeah, that seems to be the easiest way to identify them, because even if they do use two of our products, they're only going to be using one at any one time, one for sales and one for lettings, or vice versa.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's something for me to have a look at.
It's certainly possible. I think it's just, yeah, you know, figuring out the best way to go about it, really.
Yeah. And what